No problem. I'm ready.
Welcome back to Autodrom, Most, everybody, for the race that's coming up, EuroNASCAR 2 division heading out onto circuit. Most became permanent motor racing facility in the Czech Republic when it first opened in 1983, although motorsport in this area came when motorcycles were raced around the very edge of the city in 1947. Over the years, multiple circuit variations tried around the town before they finally settled on a road course on the highway near to the town's new railway station in the 1970s. But before the first race was really held on that circuit, it was quite apparent that rising safety standards wouldn't allow a street course to continue for much longer. So plans were formulated to build a permanent circuit on the opposite side of the city. In the 1976, a delegation was sent to visit circuits in neighbouring Germany, including the likes of Nürburgring and Hockenheim, to gather the necessary information. And construction on this facility started in 1978. Over the next 4 years, the circuit gradually began to take shape. And in 1983, Autodrom Most was opened. It's playing host for the second time to the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in what have been rotten conditions, it'd be fair to say, over the course of this weekend. It's not dampening the enthusiasm of the Czech crowd, though, but it is certainly dampening the circuit. A fantastic circuit. Let's just have a quick look at the circuit itself. It is a very sort of narrow circuit in terms of the spread of it, so it extends to the left and to the right, but not that much gap between one side of the circuit and the other in reality. It's full of some fast sections, but lots of twisty and turny sections, in particular turns 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 off towards the top left of your screen there, but a big long start-finish line into a heavy braking area for the right and the left flicks, turn number 1 and turn number 2, the chicane. That provides a good overtaking opportunity for the drivers. Technical sections, as we say, through turns 4, 5, 6 and 7, and in particular through turns 12, 13, 14 and 15 there. But it's a circuit that is liked by the drivers here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. To say it was the Elite 2 drivers who will be heading onto the circuit very, very shortly indeed. If you're not familiar with the weekend format, then let's just show you as to what the weekend format is, because it's day one of racing here. So we had practice sessions yesterday, we had qualifying this morning, we've had the EuroNASCAR Pro race 1 this morning over 75 kilometres. Well, it's the 60 kilometre EuroNASCAR 2 race 1 coming up shortly. That will be our last track action for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series today, but there's more track action tomorrow. The warm-up will not be televised in the morning, but you will be able to catch the live streams of both races tomorrow. EuroNASCAR 2 will be up first in the morning, followed by EuroNASCAR Pro, and that is the format for the weekend, as is always the case. So the cars are heading out onto the circuit. I think we can probably also show you as to what the standings look like at the moment in the EuroNASCAR 2 division, following the races that we had at both Valencia and at Brands Hatch. Tobias Dauenhauer leads the championship standings by just 9 points from Martin Dubeck. Tobias Dauenhauer qualified on pole position for the first time this year. Martin Dubeck at his home NASCAR Grand Prix qualified 4th. Third in the standings, just a few points away from Martin Dubeck, is Vladimiras Choitsis. And Advait Deodar, the Indian driver who claimed his first overall career win at Brands Hatch, lies 4th in the championship points, with Pierluigi Veronese and Nave Talor completing the top 6. The leading rookie we've got in the field for drivers in their first season of racing is the Italian in 8th place, Alberto Panebianco. The Legion Legend driver for those aged 40 and over in this category is the Ukrainian Yevgen Sokolovsky in 11th. And leading the lady standings by just 5 points at the moment is in 16th position Ariana Casoli, but she was out-qualified by Alina Leubneger, who she is squabbling for the trophy battle with. Let's hand you downstairs onto the grid, because already I think Andre Weigold has managed to catch up with the driver.
I'm here on the grid with the pole sitter, Tobias Dauenhauer. Sorry guys. Tobias, first row, pole position. We still miss your words about the qualifying this morning. Can you talk us through that again?
Yeah, it was a tough qualifying for me as well. So difficult conditions. I had a lot of traffic, and I did my fastest lap and the pole lap in my last lap of the qualifying. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. But hopefully, yeah, I'm on pole position and I try to reach the maximum result I could do now in the race.
It was an incredible, crazy race in the EuroNASCAR Pro. The conditions are quite, the same right now. It's raining. We have a damp track. What is your strategy and how do you approach to this race?
Yeah, for sure. I try to avoid every crash and try to do a clean race. But yeah, I think it will be a lot of action because of these conditions. It will be maybe a crazy race. So yeah, let's see. Good to see some fans on the racetrack again, and then hopefully we can show a great race.
All right, thank you. And we take a quick look. These are rain tires.
No, rain tyres going on the cars, national anthems being played.
There's the machine. The running deck of the weekend. I try here.
Where is the media center? Where not the normal media center. Where all the NASCAR?
We are there. John is there.
I haven't seen that.
But John is now in the TV truck producing the live.
So the national anthem of the United States of America playing out there on the build-up to the EuroNASCAR 2 division race. We heard from Tobias Dauenhauer about qualifying. I think we could just show you a little bit of highlight of that qualifying session where we saw the German but I think what we'll do is, before we look back at qualifying, we can hand you back downstairs onto the grid. Andre Weigold has managed to catch up with another driver.
Seven,
We're here on the grid with national anthem of the Czech Republic.
Sorry, no, it's another one. 66 is the second. One car is 50.
Yeah, no, the number one car.
Ah, it's there.
So let's have another go. Andre Weigold is down there with Nave Talor for an interview.
Bonjour.
Okay, we try again with Nave Talor, driver of the 90 of Not Only Motorsports. All right, I need you guys for a second, okay? Nave, it's number 7 in front of you. You asked that question. I think the 66 was there. So what's your approach coming from this place on the grid with those difficult conditions?
It should be fun. I mean, I trust most of the drivers that will all make it cleanly. And yeah, I'm pushing for the first podium, so I think I'm in a good position. So I think I'll work together with the drivers around me to make sure I'm on the podium.
All right. Thank you so much and have a good race.
Well, we saw an Israeli driver go to victory lane earlier on when Alan Day managed it in the EuroNASCAR Pro Division. Could Nave Talor do it in this one because he is a fellow countryman of our reigning EuroNASCAR Pro champion? We were going to look back at some of the highlights of the qualifying from early on. We heard from Tobias Dauenhauer about the conditions were changeable in qualifying, and hopefully we can just have a quick look back at about 30 seconds or so of the qualifying action for the EuroNASCAR 2 division. It took place this morning on what was a damp but drying track, so it was the latter laps that were all important, and Tobias Dauenhauer was looking to try and secure his first pole position of the 2021 championship season. He was pushing hard at the wheel of the number 50 car. The track had got drier and drier and drier throughout the session, meaning that it had changed from having damp lines to being almost dry all the way across, but still had to be careful so as to make sure he stayed within the confines of the circuit and did not do anything that would trouble the number 50 Hendricks Ford. But Tobias Dauenhauer would eventually come through and scoop up top honours in qualifying, his first pole position of the season. Justin Kuntz this time is the driver who has got a mechanic peering in through the passenger side window of it, and I think a few minor adjustments just being done to the number 22 car in the hands of the German driver, who will line up in what will be, I think it's 9th position on the grid for Justin Kuntz, driver who we've seen racing out in the Camping World Truck Series in the past. He took in one race, what was it, about 3 seasons ago now, 2018, the 24-year-old German, who finished 10th in the EuroNASCAR Pro Division last year, 3rd in the Junior Trophy. He stepped up and did that last year, having EuroNASCAR 2 the year before he finished 9th. Back down onto the grid, though, Andre Weigold has managed to catch up with someone else.
We are here with Brands Hatch race winner Advait Deoda from India. Another good starting position for you here at the Autodrom Must. So what is your plan for this race under those difficult conditions?
Yeah, thanks. Actually, I'm not happy with my position, but anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, it's tricky. I mean, is it dry? Is it wet? And who's to say? It stopped raining now. We all seem to be on wet tires. I think we're going to start single file, so I just got to make sure I'm going to keep it clean in the first few laps and try and get as many positions as I can and try and win.
All right, thank you so much and have a good race.
So yeah, confirmation it will be a single file start for the EuroNASCAR 2 division. The officials taking the opportunity just to make sure that that charge up towards the corners that we're looking at now, the turn 1 and turn 2, where they turn right towards chicane and left on the way out, that is done so as to prevent the cars from tripping over each other, so it'll be a single file start. We have got the bonnet up on the number 1 car towards the tail end of the field. Now that is Vladimir's choices. The command is given, the most famous words in NASCAR, about 70 seconds earlier than we were expecting in reality. So the command has already been given. Now that's Choices' car, bonnet up, back of the grid, which is rather worrying because Vladimir's Choices in qualifying this morning did qualify third quickest. So his car, by the look of things, is going to start off the tail end of the field with a few problems. There's a number 88 with the victory lane earlier on in the EuroNASCAR Pro race. Max Clark that takes over, was brought to victory by Alan Day earlier on over the course of the day. Bonnet's going down on the number 1 by the look of things, but they do need to get that bonnet secured, clear the tools and equipment off the grid, and get out of harm's way because we're about to get the rolling lap very shortly underway for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and then we can see as to what the grid will look like for the EuroNASCAR 2 division as they will start to work their way out onto the circuit very, very shortly. A single file start. Tobias Stanhauer will start from pole position. Alongside is number 66, Simon Palat. Row 2 of the grid is Vladimir's Choices, but we know he will be absent from that because he's going off the back of the grid with problems. So Martin Dubeck will be on his own on row number 2. Advoit Giodo, we've just heard from, lines up on row number 3 alongside another driver we've heard from, Nave Talor. And row number 4, we'll see Francesco Caristo line up alongside the Finnish driver, Levi Lintakantu. The 5th row of the grid is where we see on the inside of that 5th row of the grid Justin Kuntz, and alongside him is Max Lancer at the wheel of the car that brought Alan Day to victory lane earlier on today. And row 6 of the grid, it is Tom Krasinas, the Greek driver, alongside Yevgen Sokolovsky. Row number 7 of the grid, on the inside of row number 7 is Gilles Linster returning to the championship alongside Ian Eric Varden, another one of the Scandinavians on the grid. And row 8 of the grid sees Pierluigi Veronesi line up alongside the Portuguese driver Miguel Gomez. After Miguel Gomez on row number 8, row number 9 is Paolo Valeri and Alina Leubnegger on the 9th row of the grid. And row number 10 is where we see Alberto Panebianco and Ariana Casuli. And then on his own, on the 11th row of the grid, it should be Eric Quintal that lines up on his own on the 11th row of the grid at the wheel of the Speedhouse Mustang. That's the way that they line up for round 5 of the 2021 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR 2 division. Single file start as we have had confirmed because of the tricky conditions to avoid what is a full grid of cars tripping over each other in towards the chicane. So sensible decision being taken. We saw a few little bumps taking place on turn 1 of the EuroNASCAR Pro division where Jack Villeneuve got turned around and Giorgio Maggi had to take to the gravel. So as to avoid that in the second tier of European NASCAR racing, it will be a single file start for this one. But if you look at the track, Advoit Giodo was making a very valid point. Everybody on wets at the moment, but it could possibly dry out over the course of the 14 laps that are scheduled for this one. Whereas in stark contrast, it started dry for the EuroNASCAR Pro race and finished in awful conditions, but you can see the clouds in the background. We just don't know what's going to happen to the weather. It has been blowing in onto this circuit, so you can see that the circuit is fully damp all the way across it. They are travelling at reduced speed, but you can still see the spray. But if we don't get any more rain, then we could end up with a drying line towards the end. And when you are so limited on tyres, you're only allowed 4 wet tyres for the weekend. You are only allowed 2 brand new slick tyres for the weekend, and any other slick tyres you want to use have to be carried over from either the Brands Hatch races or the races at Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. So you're hugely limited on tyres, and if you choose the wrong tyre on the wrong changing conditions on the track, you can very quickly run out of tyres over the course of a weekend. So drivers have to bear that in mind and just make sure that they keep some of their tyres in reserve for tomorrow, or look after them and give them a good hug today, because you don't get many Hoosier tyres for the weekend. So the last little bit of warming up being done. Watch out for Vladimir's Choices coming off the tail end of the field to see how he might charge his way up through the order. Remember, Tobias Downhauer is the championship leader by just 9 points from Martin Dubeck. Tobias Downhauer has yet to finish off the podium so far this season. He's had a win, he's had 2 seconds, he's had a third, but claimed his first pole position of the season earlier on this season. So it's 2 wins to Dubeck, 1 win to Advoit Giodo and Tobias Downhauer apiece. And all of those drivers are in the top 5 on this grid. Simon Palat with a good showing from him. He claimed 2nd place at Brands Hatch last time out. Let's see what he might be able to do at the wheel of that number 66 car. So buckle up, everybody. We're about to go green for the first time this weekend in the EuroNASCAR 2 division. Red lights are on, country, 14 laps of racing are about to get going here at Autodrom Most. Lights go out and the single file start gets going. You can see now that they accelerate exactly how much water is on the track, because the spray is being thrown into the windscreens of the cars behind as they charge their way in towards the braking area, towards turn number 1. Advait Deodar hugging the right-hand side, all through the gravel trap has gone to Tobias Dauenhauer. He will retake to the circuit. Needs to be careful he doesn't gain advantage, though, as a result of that. Simon Palat in second place, Advait Deodar in third, Martin Dubeck in fourth place. But I would say Tobias Dauenhauer probably gained an advantage as a result of going through the gravel, and there's a fair chunk of damage to Nave Talor, who sits there in 6th position at the moment, with damage to the front part of his car, damage to the bonnet as well, and off has gone Justin Kuntz and also the number 44 of Ian Eric Varden have both gone off. So there's a couple of cars already have fallen foul of the tricky conditions, but Tobias Dauenhauer is leading. Francesco Garisto dives up the inside of Nave Talor to take what will be 5th position away there. So through goes the number 42 of Francesco Garisto. Good move up the inside. Nave Talor saw him coming now. So Tobias Dauenhauer looking to try and break away in the lead. Simon Palat in second place, coming under pressure from the car that sits directly behind him, which is Advait Deodar, who wasn't happy with his qualifying position, but Deodar's now coming under pressure from the number 7 car of Martin Dubeck. They all go side by side in towards turn number 15 and turn 16. Who's going to come out in the lead? Advait Deodar comes out at the head of the pack, so he's now up in second. Simon Palat down to third. Martin Dubeck and Francesco Garisto hot on his heels, but look at Tobias Dauenhauer. He's gone. He's away already and up the road. Up towards the braking area for turn number 21. There goes Nave Talor, damaged car and on the grass as well. Surely he's going to end up limping his way into the pit lane. He was looking for a win. It's going to be the pit lane at the end of lap number 1. Look at the lead that our race leader has. They skitter their way out of turn number 21. Martin Dubeck up the inside of Simon Palat, who at the wheel of the DF1 Racing Chevy is going to lose a place here to the Hendricks board onto the curbs, and as soon as you touch those curbs you can see exactly what happens. The car starts to unsettle, starts to wheel spin up as well on the painted surface, and Simon Palat might lose a further place here as Francesco Garisto goes through up the inside and gains the place. So the number 42 car of Garisto gaining a position there. Dubeck in third, Garisto now fourth. 5th place is Simon Palat at the wheel of the number 66 DF1 Racing Chevy. He's fallen to the tail end of that field, having started second on the grid. He's now down into 5th position. It may well be they've set the car up slightly differently, and others are going to be out of the box well, but as the circuit dries, then they might struggle. We simply don't know what they've done with regards to tyre choice, with regards to suspension setup, both pump and rebound, and anti-roll bar settings, and we don't know what they've done with regards to tyre pressures either. If they set them low so that the car gets stronger, if they set them high to bring the car on in the early stages, knowing that it's probably going to drop away towards the tail end. So Tobias Dauenhauer was leading by 3.6 seconds at the end of the first lap of racing. Advait Deodar, since taking second place, has pulled away. Simon Palat from the 66 cars we say has gone backwards really, and into the pit lane, I'm afraid to say, is Justin Kuntz. So the German driver at the wheel of one of the DF1 Racing Chevys into the pit lane with, I think, damage to that car, hence why they are getting the jack out and starting to lift the car up to try and inspect some damage to it. Lap number 2 is about to be completed, and for Tobias Dauenhauer, he was leading by that 3.6 seconds, a very handy advantage after the first lap of racing. Did he gain an advantage shortcutting the chicane? Well, he certainly seemed to have a slightly larger gap coming out of the chicane, having gone through the gravel trap, than he did going in. But I think either way, he was the quickest driver on the first lap and probably would have still been leading anyway. Now, Yevgen Sokolovsky slithers his way out of final corner. There is our race leader, Tobias Dauenhauer, leading by 2.5 seconds now. So Advait Deodar is starting to close in a little bit at the wheel of the Cal Racing Ford Mustang, Brands Hatch winner. Lives in London nowadays, but was originally born and lived in Mumbai, in India. So he went to the victory lane at Brands Hatch for the first time in his career. A little fight going on further down through the order as well. We'll pick up on where that is. I think that's Miguel Gomez that is hanging on to the position, but there's a queue of cars sitting behind him. We'll try and pick up on that as the race wears on. The leading rookie we've got in the field at the moment is Levi Lintercantu in 6th place. He's the first driver that is in his first season of NASCAR racing. Max Lancer is the leading legend driver, as he's the leading driver over 40. There's the damage to Justin Kuntz's car, lots of gaffer tape being applied to the front of it, but I'm afraid the damage is already done in terms of his point-scoring aspirations for this race. And who's leading the Lady Trophy in the early stages? That's 16th and 17th place. Ariana Cassidy, I think, has gone through and ahead now, has she? No, it's Alina Leubniger still. Alina Leubniger leads that in 16th position. Now, Advite Dioda, you can see the gap between himself. There goes Tobias Dauenhauer. There's the second place car, Advite Dioda, and there goes third place, Martin Dubeck. Home NASCAR Grand Prix, remember, for Martin Dubeck. We didn't have a NASCAR Grand Prix of the Czech Republic in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's great to be back here. Martin with plenty of support from the home crowd and the family. And would desperately like to try and score some good points here, Martin Dubeck. Second in the championship standings, had a bit of an off race really, through no fault of his own at Brands Hatch last time through. He netted, what, 24 points, which would have been something like 13th position, I think, as a result of having been tagged into a spin by what I think was Francesco Caristo, if memory serves me correctly. For Tobias Dauenhauer, he's just maintaining the lead advantage at the moment. It's been hovering around 2.5 seconds on the last lap or so. All of the cars having started on wets. The track looking as though it is drying out a little bit, and it might be that in a few laps' time we start to see some of them maybe diving to the wetter parts of the track to prevent their Control Hoosier tyres from overheating as blocks move around. There's damage to Navi Talor's car. Yeah, bike taken out the front. The damage was occurred at turn number 1 to the bonnet and the frontal area of the car. Still continuing round Navi Talor, but has now dropped down into 14th position, having been 6th on the grid. Francesco Caristo, looking as though he is in a battle. Out front, 2.5 seconds up the road, is Tobias Dauenhauer. Is he pulling away this lap from the car in second place, Advite Dioda? Yeah, I believe he is. There's Eric Quintal, who came off the tail end of the field and is now running in 19th position, having started 21st, so he'll have picked up place as a result of Justin Coops having come into the pit lane with his damaged number 20 car. Damaged number 22 car, it says 20 on the screen, but it's running as car number 22. So 4 laps about to be completed. There's the gap first to second. Third place, Martin Dubeck in the black and the Dayglow yellow and the blue machine, and then there's a big old gap back to 4th place at the moment. Not even in sight is 4th place, which is Francesco Caristo, who has got back ahead of Simon Palat on that lap. They were in the opposite order, but it's now Simon Palat who is now back behind Francesco Caristo. So Caristo runs in 4th place, Palat in 5th place, and Levi Lintecantu having a really good run again. The leading rookie sitting there in 6th position at the moment, the largely blue and white number 23 car in the hands of the Scandinavian, the Finnish driver. The advantage to just come down a little bit more. There is Simon Palat in 5th place with DF1 Racing. He's got another one of the DF1 team behind him, the Ice Boys car as it's known. Levi Lintecantu running that car in EuroNASCAR 2. And it is Henry Tuomala, Fenno Finnish driver, that runs it in EuroNASCAR Pro. As for the number 1 car, that's Vladimir Choitis. Remember, the bonnet was up on that car, and slight worries about it even taking part in the race. Well, he's now the Sitfrit driver, up to 12th position in the race, so he's carved his way through the order. Choitis is a second off, catching the next of the cars just up the road, which is going to be the not only motorsport car of the 24-year-old Italian Alberto Panebianco. Cantu still having to squabble over 5th and 6th position. Martin Dubeck still looking to try and hang on to the coattails of the 2nd place car, which is Advite Dioda. Czech driver at the moment is still, what, 1.3 seconds adrift of him. Dioda looks as though he's fallen further away from the race leader on this lap. And I think the circuit is wet enough so that the tyres aren't going to overheat at the moment. That part of the circuit looks very wet, doesn't it? But other parts of it look that little bit drier. Over the start finish line there will go. Tobias Dauenhauer, Advite Dioda, Martin Dubeck over the start finish line into the pit lane. I'm afraid there's going to Navi Talor, so the damage to the front end of the number 90, not only motorsport Chevy, a bit too much. So Nave has had to bring that car in. Such a shame because he had such a solid qualifying. And of course, the damage to the car, you're unlikely to set a quick lap time in this race. And it's lap times from this race that give us the grid for tomorrow. So for Nave Talor, more lap times because of the damage, you're going to mean he's going to start towards the tail end of the grid tomorrow, potentially. He's still got work to do. If they can get it repaired and get it out there, he's got time to get a quick lap in. Oh, and Joitsis, all of that charge through the order has come to nothing. He's had a spin somewhere out on circuit, so Vladimir Joitsis is going to be dropping way, way down through the order again now. He wasn't he almost knocking on the door of the top 10? I think at best he's probably going to be in the top dozen, if not further down, maybe in the mid-teens. That's the driver who is third in the championship standings, the Cypriot. He's finished in the top 10 in every race so far this season, but he is going to come through in something like 15th position at best, I think, now. So he's got a huge amount of work to do. Simon Palat in 4th place, fighting away with Lee Cantu still, the two DF1 racing teammates together. Cantu too far away, though, to really attack number 66 that lies ahead. So it's Ford, top 3, and then it's Chevys from 4th all the way to 8th position. So 3 Fords in front, and then 5 Chevys thereafter, and Vladimir Joitsis is stranded, I'm afraid. That is not in a safe place and could well bring about a full-course caution, whatever the problem is for the number 1 Academy and Alex Caffey Motorsport Ford Mustang. If he's stranded on track and they can't got him, then we are going to go full-course caution, I would have thought. It comes to bias down, however, over the start-finish line. Turn 20 is where the local caution is at the moment for Joitsis. It's not being covered by full-course caution just yet. But if you can't get that car fired up, surely that's the inevitable. And that would really help Justin Coots, really, because that potentially would put him back onto the coattails of other cars that he's lost time with as a result of those extended repairs in the pit lane. Bias down, however, leading by 3.5 seconds now from the number 56 Cal Racing Ford of Advait Dioda. So it's Hendricks Ford from Cal Racing Ford, from Hendricks Ford, top 3, working their way through turns 6, 7, 8, 9, and up towards the hairpin at turn number 10, which is where they'll be going very shortly indeed. Fantastic view round through this camera, which shows us turn number 10, and then the cars start to rocket away. The speeds builds through the kink at turn number 11, which is flat out. Turn number 12, which is the left-hander he's coming up to now, which is flat out. Turn number 13, hugely brave you've got to be to carry as much speed through turn number 13 as possible. Grab the curb on the way in, be careful with the throttle on the curb on the way out, and the speeds build again through the kink at turn 14 before you're then into the complex at turns 15, 16 and 17, where the cars go right. Through 15 they go left, through 16, which is where Tobias Downhauer is going now. He'll turn right again through turn number 17, and again then the speeds build through the flat out kinks at 18 and 19 and up towards the localised yellow flag zones at the moment, where Vladimir Joitsis' car is still somewhat stranded. There goes number 12, that is Elina Leubnegger. She is leading the Lady Trophy at the moment at the wheel of the Solaris Motorsport number 12 car, running in 15th position overall. Ahead of these two cars here, number 64 Eric Quintal, who has again made progress here up to 16th position now. He's got himself ahead of Ariano Casoli on that lap. So we're fast approaching the off-distance points of this race. There goes Martin Dubek over the start-finish line. There is number 8, which is Paolo Valeri. He's fighting away with the number 89 car of Alberto Panabianco. That is 4th position. Miguel Gomez just up the road from them. So 10th, 11th and 12th places, all busy squabbling away. Just wondering if Paolo Valeri there was just running into the wetter part of the circuit so as to prevent the tyres from overheating. That would be a very, very sensible thing. If you think the circuit's drying, start to use the wet bits nice and early. Keep those tyres cool, stop the blocks moving round. And again, yeah, I think that's what they're just doing. They're just moving the car from where there'd be the normal race line all the way over to the right-hand side. They know the circuit is drying, and subject to the speed at which it dries, you might end up with tyres potentially just struggling towards the end as they drop outside of their optimum operating temperatures. So a good little fight this is. Panabianco in 11th place, the number 8 car of Paolo Vieri running in 12th position. For Alberto Panabianco, he will be the 2nd place rookie that we've got in the field, fighting away with the 2nd place Legend Trophy competitor. fact, Bianco will be the third place rookie, because ahead of him is Miguel Gomez, who will also be classified as a rookie, but Miguel is also eligible for the Legend Trophy, so he ticks 2 boxes there. First season of racing, so that makes him eligible for Rookie Trophy, but he's also over 40, so he's eligible for the Legend Trophy. So that's a good little fight, actually, between what will be 2nd, 3rd and 4th place rookies, really, Gomez, Panabianco and Valeri. Now this is Yevgen Sokolovsky fighting away with Francesco Garisto. Not quite sure what's happened to Francesco Garisto. He's gone off the boil a little bit, because he was right up there, wasn't he, in the early stages? Well, he's now dropped down to 9th position at the wheel of the number 42 machine. The 18-year-old Italian is behind Yevgen Sokolovsky at the moment, who is looking to try and make good his escape if he can, the Ukrainian. The wheel of that fantastically liveried number 48 machine. Yevgen Sokolovsky was runner-up in the Legend Trophy last year in EuroNASCAR 2, where he finished 13th in the overall championship standings. He's under pressure from Francesco Garisto, though, as they head up the start-finish line. Sokolovsky leading the Legend Trophy championship standings this season in 11th place overall, and through the gravel at turn number 1 goes Simon Palat there. So the car that was in 4th place, a little bit of damage just to the front valance of that car as a result of the gravelly moment. Tyres to clean up as well for him over the course of the next couple of corners. But for number 66 car in the hands of the 19-year-old Belgium, brief trip through the gravel. Didn't lose too much time, I don't think, however, and should have hung on to 4th place ahead of Levi Lintecantu. 10th, 11th and 12th still together, but there has been shuffle in the order this time, as they're not yet, because Paolo Valeri now is through and ahead of Alberto Panabianco. So that's now Valeri up into what will be 11th position. That will put him 4th in the Legend Trophy, but it'll put him 3rd of the rookies at the moment. So a good little run by Paolo Valeri, driver who was racing in the Italian Cup Division 2 last year, was the champion in that. Now, though, is now 5 seconds to the good as we've gone past the halfway point of this race. Lina Leubnegger at the wheel of the number 12 Solaris Motorsport car still leads the Lady Trophy. She's got a couple of cars between herself and Ariana Casoli. And there is Paolo Valeri with problems. Is that? Yeah, definitely some bodywork rubbing on that front right-hand tyre there. So that is a little bit of tyre rub going on there. That could be a cause for concern, potentially. Particularly as we've still got, what, 6-7 laps of the race still to go. Well, the leader's now completed 9 laps and he's on his 10th. Bias Downhour leading by 6 seconds now and looking good potentially for win number 2 of the season, the championship leader. So he won the 2nd of the 2 races at Brands Hatch. There's a bite taken out of the front left corner of the car in the hands of Pierluigi Veronesi. There is the rather battered car of Nave Talor back out on track as well, with all of the front of the car missing. Largely just cosmetic damage to that car. It's a composite body on the car, it's a space frame chassis, just composite bodywork that sits on these cars. Now for Paolo Valeri, let's just have a quick look. I think it's only when that car gets up to speed that the front bodywork folds onto that right front tyre. There's no obvious smoke there. Back in the pit lane, Justin Coots again back in the slick pit lane, and look, slicks are going on the car. So Justin Coots is rolling the dice here. He lost a lot of time earlier on, and a roll of the dice for Justin Coots. See him move from the treaded wet tyre onto the slick tyre. Now, we saw the dice being rolled the opposite way in the EuroNASCAR Pro Division, where cars started on slicks, the heavens opened and they stayed on slick tyres, in particular Jacques Villeneuve and Romain Iniesta. Well, the opposite for these cars, they all started on wet, and now some of them are taking the early decision to come in and swap over. What has been a really changeable few days weather-wise here in the Czech Republic. We had, what, mid 30 degrees when we were here in June of 2019. Well, we are now nowhere near that, and the amount of water that's been deposited on the track in the last 24 or 48 hours has been large amounts. Downhour leading by 5.2 seconds. There is Gilles Linster, who is now looking to try and work his way up through the order at the wheel of the number 77 car. Gilles is in 7th position at the moment, the man from Luxembourg. He's done a lot of late model racing in the last season or so, both in Europe and over in America as well. He's taken in some races. It's the car that went to victory lane with 3rd overall in the EuroNASCAR Pro race earlier on in the hands of the Belgian driver Mark Goossens. It's great to see Gilles back in the championship, and at the moment clinging on to 7th place despite the very best efforts of the number 42 Shadow that sits behind, which is Francesco Garisto. Pushing hard is Garisto. Jens Sokolovsky's not too far away either at the wheel of the light blue and orange number 48 machine, the Ukrainian. So 6th and 7th and 8th together, but 9th place closing in on the pair as well. Now what we do need to keep an eye on is the lap times for Justin Kuntz. The last lap for most of the cars on wet tyres on a drying track, let's say 1 minute 55, 1 minute 56 is. I'll wait for Justin Kuntz to get out there and see what kind of times he's doing, but there's only, what, 4 laps or so to go now, so I think the time lost in the pits to start with is never going to be made up by Justin Kuntz, but it's worth doing it. It's not going to lose that many more places, but at least then as a team and a driver, you'll understand if the weather conditions are similar tomorrow, what the point of change is, at which point the track is in the correct condition to be on the correct tyre, and that is all knowledge that they will have that maybe some of the other teams won't have now, and that could well be imparted amongst the DF1 Racing teammates as well from him. So there goes Garisto, number 42 car, running in 8th place, trying to hunt down Gilles Linster that lies ahead. It's closing in on him, I would say, as well. And for Ariana Casserly, she is right on the bumper of Eric Quintal still. Has got the race leader right behind her, so this is Tobias Downhauer about to put a lap on Ariana Casserly, who is going to drop off the lead lap if she's not careful, but equally as much the blue flags will wave and she'll need to move out of harm's way. And 2nd and 3rd is not far away either, because Advait Deodar has now got within his wheel tracks the 3rd place car of Martin Dubeck, the number 7 Ford Mustang. So this is for 2nd and 3rd position. They are 5.5 seconds off the leader. Advait Deodar fresh from that race win last time out at Brands Hatch, and you can see, look at the dry line now that's appearing through this part of the circuit, which is out of turn number 18 and 19. They'll be going shortly. You see cars dodge off to the right hand side so as to pick up the wetter part of the circuit and try and cool the tyres down, but Advait made that point at the beginning of the race. He just didn't know which way it was going to go through turn 15 and 16, then up towards turn number 17. I think here on the exit of the corner, this is where we might see him head offline and pick up the wet part of the circuit so as to try and cool the tyres down. About to put a lap on his teammate as well, which is Ariana Casserly. So there goes Advait. Yeah, look at him offline, picking up the spray, trying to cool the tyres down, and that might just be enough again so as to just take an odd degree or so out of the core temperature of the tyre. Ariana Casserly, there she goes. She's now been lapped by Martin Dubeck as well. So through's gone Advait Deodar, the number 56 car. Through goes Martin Dubeck. They've got more traffic to deal with, which is going to be Eric Quintal at the wheel of the number 64 Speedhouse car just up the road. Hopefully that Ford Mustang will move out of harm's way and allow the squabble for 2nd and 3rd through. Through goes Advait Deodar, but just delayed a little bit there was Martin Dubeck, because Eric Quintal can't just disappear. He's got to wait until the correct part of the circuit to try and get out of the way, and Dubeck goes through, but will have lost a little bit of time there. So the gap was 0.7 of a second, and just have opened up a shade more. That also now means that Eric Quintal and Ariana Casserly can roll their sleeves up and start to slug it out again for what is 16th and 17th positions overall, albeit now both the 64 and the 54 are off the lead lap. I'm afraid to say Gilles Linster's return to the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series has finished with a retirement. He pulls the car off the circuit, well and truly out of harm's way. Sensible driving from Gilles. So that will be covered by localised yellows at this stage. For Tobias Downhauer, 4 seconds to the good over Advait Deodar. Ariana Casserly has got herself through and ahead of Eric Quintal, so that will be a change for 16th and 17th places. Justin Kuntz out on track. I said we need to keep an eye on Justin Kuntz's lap times. He's about to flash his way over the start-finish line. Slick tyres, 1 minute 55.7. Wet tyres at the moment, still 1 minute 55. So the slick tyre is not giving any advantage at all at this stage to Justin Kuntz. I think that's cars. Whilst there's a dry line, it's not fully dry, and it's a very thin line as well. As soon as you don't get all 4 tyres on that drier line, you're always going to struggle on slicks. And of course, it takes a while just to get them up to temperature as well. It takes 2 or 3 laps to get them up to temperature, but Justin Kuntz, he's going to finish as he was anyway, probably a couple of laps off the lead following the damage that was inflicted on that car. Great fight still going on for second and third place. Advat Diogo cannot shake away Martin Dubeck. For our race leader, Tobias Downhauer. 5.4 seconds to the good. In the background, you can just see the yellow car of Advat Deodar, but it's all very much now within the grasp of Tobias Downhauer. The season has just got better and better and better, really. Started the season off round number 1 with 3rd place. Round number 2 was 2nd place. Round number 3, 2nd place. Round number 4, he took the win. Round number 5, potentially another win again. So the season just keeps getting better for him at the moment. He leads the championship by 9 points coming into this race from Martin Dubeck, who is lying 3rd in this race. 3rd in the championship is Vladimiris Choitsis, who has had his problems and of course is now way down through the order and has gone into retirement. And 4th in the championship is the driver that's currently 2nd in this race, Advat Deodar, who we heard from on the grid wasn't happy with his qualifying performance of 5th, but I'm sure will be much happier with a 2nd place finish in this one. Yellow flags off to the left there, which suggests that somebody's had a bit of a problem. Not sure who that might be. But, that would be because of Gilles Linster's car still, which is up against the barriers there with a mechanical woe. So that's why we have the localised yellow there still at turn number 18. But for Tobias Downhauer, you see the car sliding around as he works his way out of the penultimate corner and heads up towards the start-finish line. It is going to be Tobias Downhauer who is going to claim a win here. Out comes the checkered flag. Tobias Downhauer claims his 5th career win in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR 2 division at the end of 14 laps of racing. Advat Deodar just hangs on to 2nd place from Martin Dubeck, who finishes in 3rd position. That keeps those two right in the championship hunt as well. And Levi Linter-Cantu is going to finish in 4th position. That is without question going to be the best result from Levi so far this season. He has had one top 10 finish, Levi Linter-Cantu, where he finished in 10th position in the 2nd of the 2 races at Brands Hatch, but he is going to finish in 4th place for this one. By far the best result that the Finn has had at the wheel of the number 23 DF1 Racing Ice Boys Chevy so far this year. Simon Palat comes through and will finish in 5th place. Francesco Garisto in 6th place. Max Lancer 7th. Yevgen Sokolovsky 8th. Paolo Valeri should finish in 9th. Alberto Panebianco will wrap up the top 10, which means that Max Lancer will take the Legend trophy just from Yevgen Sokolovsky. And who was 3rd in Legend? It will be Paolo Valeri. And in the rookie category, it will be Levi Linter-Cantu from Paolo Valeri from Alberto Panebianco, I think. And the Lady Trophy, by the look of the way things are going, is going to go the way of Alina Leubnegger once more, who will pick up top honours in the Lady Trophy in what has been another good start to the weekend for the EuroNASCAR 2 division. So, Tobias Downhauer making his way around the circuit and will head towards victory lane for the 5th time in his career, for the 2nd time in the 2021 championship season. So whilst the cars head round, let me just run you down through the order to the left of your screens. Number 50, Tobias Downhauer claims the win with the number 56 of Advat Deodar finishing in 2nd place. And it was another Ford that finished in 3rd, a Ford 123. Martin Dubeck finishes in 3rd place. The leading Chevy home was Levi Linter-Cantu in 4th position. He wins the rookie category as well. 5th was 66 Simon Palat, and 6th place was 42 Francesco Garisto, you're looking at on your screen. 7th place was Max Lancer. He wins the Legend categorization for those aged over 40. 8th place Yevgen Sokolovsky. 9th Paolo Valeri, and completing the top 10 was Alberto Panebianco. Just outside of the top 10, Pierluigi Veronesi finishes in 11th place, ahead of Ian-Eric Varden in 12th place. Miguel Gomez in 13th, and Alina Leubnegger finishes in 14th place, but picks up the Lady Trophy win and is the last of the cars to finish on the lead lap. 15th place, a lap down, Ariana Cassely, as was in 16th place Eric Quintal. And retirement late on for Gilles Linster. He will be classified, of course, but will finish in 17th position. 18th place goes the way of Justin Kuntz. 19th in the end for the battered car, number 90 of Nave Talor. and 20th for Vladimir Choic. It's not quite sure what happened to his car. It shows it as number 20 on the screen, but it's actually a number 1. But there was question marks over that car when it was on the grid, with the bonnet up and being worked on the grid until the very last moment. He made great progress through the order, almost got himself inside the top 10 before the car had issues and sadly retired. So that's a disappointment for the driver who is lying 3rd in the championship standings coming in to that particular race. So in towards victory lane comes Tobias Dauenhauer at the wheel of the number 50 Hendricks Ford, the 23-year-old German who was the rookie champion in the EuroNASCAR 2 division last year. He finished runner-up in the series overall last year, and he is looking to try and go one better in 2021. And at the moment, he is doing that. He has just claimed his 2nd win of the season. He will extend the championship points gap between himself and Martin Dubeck. It was on 9 points. Well, he's just outscored him by a further 6 points there, so it's going to be up to a 15-point lead he will have, if I've got the maths correct, heading in towards tomorrow's 2nd race of the weekend. Round 6 of the championship will take place tomorrow at just after 10 o'clock, about 5 past 10 Central European time. If you're watching in the States, it'll be very early morning for you, I'm afraid. It'll be 5 past 4 in the morning when EuroNASCAR 2 head back onto track. And don't forget, we will also see back on track tomorrow afternoon, if you're watching in Central Europe. A bit more palatable, 9 o'clock in the morning it will be Central European time. We'll see EuroNASCAR Pro head back onto the Autodrom Most. So we're just awaiting the thumbs up for Tobias Dauenhauer to jump out of the Hendricks Motorsport number 50. Dutch team, German driver, winning combination in round 5 of the championship. A thumbs up from Tobias Dauenhauer. We can't see the smile on his face just as yet, but I'm sure there will be a broad one down there in victory lane. And I think once he's out of the car and the celebrations have taken place, then Andre Weigard will be ready to chat to our race winner, and hopefully we might catch up with the top 3 as well. We will also try and stick around to bring you all of the podium presentations as well for each one of the categories, both for the EuroNASCAR 2 division, for the subcategory of it, the Legend Trophy for those aged over 40, for the Rookie Trophy for those making their season debut in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, that's regardless of age or experience, and also we'll have the winner for the Female Trophy, for the Lady Trophy, heading on to the podium as well. So those are the, I suppose, 4 podiums that we will have. The top 3 for the race, for Legend, for Rookie, and the winner for the Lady Trophy. In what are blue skies above now, stark contrast to what we've had early on. So there's Tobias Dauenhauer on the roof of the number 50. He goes towards victory lane in round 5 of the 2021 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, EuroNASCAR 2 division. Off has come the gloves, off will come the crash helmets and the head and neck support, the hands device. Out come the earplugs, which of course allow him to communicate with his vital spotter, and balaclava. And then once he has, I think, grabbed the hat, we should be able to hand you downstairs any second now, where Andre Weigard, there you go, shake of the hand with Advite Diodo, a big smile on his face, but let's hand you downstairs to the winner in victory lane with Andre.
All right, Tobias, 2 in a row. An amazing win. It looked like a little bit boring on your side, or?
It wasn't boring. It was difficult condition outside, very slippery, and I did a little mistake at the start, at the beginning, but I could manage a small gap to the 2nd place. So I'm very happy. Many thanks to the whole team. They did an amazing job. I had a really good car, great car, and yeah, still tons of fun. And I'm looking forward to the race tomorrow.
Yeah, what you're expecting when we look at the weather forecast, it's again mixed conditions. So any idea how you approach tomorrow?
I don't know, to be honest. I looked so much to the weather forecast and it changed every time, so it's so difficult here. I wake up tomorrow and we will see. I think that's the best tactic I can do.
All right, thank you very much. Your race winner, Tobias Dauenhauer.
Yeah, I can't fault the tactics there for Tobias Dauenhauer. I've been doing the same. You look at your phone and look at the weather forecast, and whatever your phone says, the weather forecast is doing entirely the opposite. It's been so changeable over the course of both Thursday, Friday, and today here at Autodrom Most, and it doesn't look to get much better tomorrow as well. So congratulations to Tobias Dauenhauer. As Andre quite rightly said, that's 2 on the bounce now. He won the 2nd of the 2 races at the NASCAR Grand Prix of the United Kingdom. He wins the 1st of the 2 races here at the NASCAR Grand Prix of the Czech Republic. There is his Hendricks Motorsport teammate, and of course at his home NASCAR Grand Prix, Martin Dubeck, who's just come in to congratulate Tobias Downhauer. Whether we're going to get the chance to chat to the second and third place drivers, I would probably doubt, because they were all ushered quite quickly and efficiently towards the podium after our EuroNASCAR Pro race. So I think that's probably what's going to happen here. We'll get the last few photographs taken, and then the drivers will be quickly ushered towards the podium for our podium presentations. And we will stay with the podiums until they have all been concluded. So there's a proud man, there's a proud team. Hendricks Motorsports are back into victory lane, and that means that so far this weekend it's one to Cal Racing now and one to Hendricks. Two teams absolutely at the sharp end of their game. So real team effort from Hendricks Motorsport. Tobias Downhauer taking the opportunity to congratulate everybody. Drivers not heading towards the podium just as yet, but I'm sure, yeah, in that general direction they'll be heading very, very shortly. I'm sure if Andre gets another drive, we'll get the opportunity to chat to one of them, maybe Advait Dioda or Martin Dubeck. But quick replay and recap of what went on in the race. The race got underway. Tobias Downhauer started from pole position, skittered across the gravel trap when we went green for the first time. Didn't lose too much time, and if anything, maybe came out of the gravel with a slightly increased advantage between himself and Simon Palat, who was in second place in the early stages of the race. But he was really struggling. He dropped to third as Martin Dubeck went through and pushed him down to fourth place. So Advait Dioda grabbing second, Martin Dubeck going through into third, and the top three would remain in those positions. There was problem and contact. Paolo Valeri suffering with a little bit of tyre rub in the early stages of the race. Eric Quintal was getting himself embroiled amongst the lead battle, but was trying to stay out of the harm's way whilst he dropped off the lead lap. He was having a great little fight with Ariana Castley down towards the mid-teens, and as they came over the start-finish line, it would be a win, a second of the season, a fifth of the career for Tobias Downhauer in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, EuroNASCAR 2 division, in what have been thoroughly enjoyable races, albeit under grey skies really all weekend, and it just depends on the time of your race as to whether it's sunny as it is now or whether it's tipping down with rain as it was doing earlier on. So the podium is being readied. Our first podium will be for the top three overall in this race. I think we'll probably have Jakob Krafek, who was our Grand Marshal, who is the project manager for Autodrom Most, probably presenting the trophies, I would have thought. Our Grand Marshal earlier on today was Andre Demel, who was representative of OMV within the Czech Republic. And then we will have, I think, all of our dignitary post. And then we will get the overall podium done, followed by the legend podium, followed by the rookie podium, is the order in which we are going to be conducting these. And it does mean that we will have certainly different drivers on the podium for our first couple of podiums. And I think the only driver that will be heading up onto the podium twice will be Paolo Valeri, because he'll be on the rookie podium and on the legend podium as well. So he'll make a couple of trips to the podium. But I think other than that, looking through the results, that is the only driver we're going to see up on the podium twice as we work our way through these podium presentations. So the OMV Max Motion NASCAR show here at Autodrom Most, our second ever visit to Most. We came for the first time in 2019 over a glorious weekend weather-wise, 29th and 30th of June. It was in the 30 degrees, the track temperature was in the 40 degrees, the commentary box temperature was in the 50s or 60s, I do recall. It was one of the warmest weekends ever in the commentary box. No air conditioning, lots of electrical equipment. Gosh, it was warm. So we wait the arrival of the drivers onto the podium. Martin Dubeck, his home NASCAR Grand Prix. Big cheer goes up for the Czech driver, who finishes in third position in our first of our EuroNASCAR 2 races of the weekend. Second place goes the way of the first-time winner at Brands Hatch. Back onto the podium again goes the London-based Indian. Advait Dioda heads onto the podium in second position. And the top step of the podium, the championship leader, back-to-back wins now, Tobias Dauenhauer claims top honours in the EuroNASCAR 2 race here at Autodrom Most. Congratulates his fellow drivers on the podium. And now it is time for the team representative to make his way up onto the podium, representing Hendricks Motorsport. And now that we've got our team representative on the podium, it is now time for the national anthem of the winning driver. So congratulations to Tobias Dauenhauer, national anthem of his native country, Germany, ringing out around the Czech Republic. The trophy is now being presented. Third place trophy goes to Martin Dubek, who finishes in third position. Big old cheer for the Czech driver at his home NASCAR Grand Prix. Second place goes the way of Advar Yoda, further strengthening both his and Martin Dubek's title aspirations. And the top step of the podium for the man who was already leading the championship by 9 points going into that race. Tobias Dauenhauer claims his second winner's trophy of the 2021 championship season. So the drivers all ushered up onto the top steps for the official photographs to be taken. Big smiles all round from the top three. And then no doubt we'll get the team representative up as well to join in the photographs. And they have got the champagne to spray. They will spray it, but I'm sure they will save the overalls for tomorrow as well. So everybody else quickly vacating the podium because they know what's coming up. The celebrations on the EuroNASCAR 2 podium muted for today because they've got to wear those overalls tomorrow. But come tomorrow, all bets are off, and no doubt there'll be a real champagne fight up there on the podium. So congratulations to our top three in the race overall. Martin Dubek, Advar Yoda and Tobias Dauenhauer. They will leave the podium, and then we will get final photographs being taken, team photo being taken, quite rightly so, with the team manager representative of Hendricks Motorsport. And then photographs have been taken. We will redress the podium and get ready for the Legend Trophy category. Again, if you weren't watching earlier on and you're concerned about the white smoke in the background, don't worry. Co-headlining this weekend is the European Truck Racing Championship, and those are the trucks with their engines just warming up in the background, ready for the next circuit action that will be coming up. That will not be live streamed via the route that you are currently watching. I suspect there will be another live stream for it somewhere should you wish to watch the trucks here. So, podium redressed, ready to go. And will be for the Legend Trophy, so it should be Paolo Valeri that comes out first. So Paolo Valeri heads out onto the podium. Big smile from Paolo Valeri. Solid start to the weekend for him. One of the drivers that came through the recruitment program to join the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Second in the Legend Trophy, Yevgen Sokolovsky, who leads the Legend Trophy standings coming into this one. Congratulations to him. But the top step of the podium goes the way of Max Lancer, who claims top honours in the Legend Trophy. And that means that Yevgen Sokolovsky and Max Lancer now are, I think, separated by a very small amount of points. I think Max Lancer has just now potentially taken over the championship lead in the Legend Trophy. If not, there's literally a point or two between them. There's only two coming into that race. And with Lancer outscoring Sokolovsky, to make it very close indeed. In fact, they were separated by one position in the race. Now, I think Lancer is now just 1 point behind Sokolovsky in the battle for the lead of the Legend Trophy. Couldn't be close to really, could it, unless they were tied on points. So congratulations to Paolo Valeri, to Yevgen Sokolovsky and to Max Lancer, who has taken over the number 88 Monster Energy backed Chevy from Alon Day, the EuroNASCAR Pro overall race winner earlier on. So that's our Legend Trophy done and dusted for those that are aged over 40 in the EuroNASCAR 2 division. We'll now move on to our Rookie Trophy. And the Rookie Trophy is for drivers in their first season of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, regardless of their age or their experience. And therefore, we should see Alberto Panabianco, the 24-year-old Italian, heading out onto this one. Third place, it's Paolo Valeri that's come out in third position. So it wasn't expecting that. Paolo Valeri heads out into third position. So second place then will be Alberto Panabianco finishes in second position. And the top step of the podium, as it was always going to be, Levi Lintekantu finishing fourth overall. Congratulations to Levi Lintekantu, who congratulates his fellow drivers there. I could only assume Paolo Valeri was maybe given a time penalty, because showing him as being in second place on the screen I'm looking at, but he's on the third step of the podium. I'm sure that's correct. Maybe a post-race penalty for him, just dropping him down through the order. But there's still big smiles, that's the main thing, as there is from Alberto Panabianco as well. And there'll be a big old smile from Levi Lintekantu, his best result of the season, Levi Lintekantu. In typical Scandinavian fashion, a little bit muted with his emotions there, but he will be grinning from ear to ear inside as well. So congratulations to Paolo Valeri, to Alberto Panabianco, and to Levi Lintekantu, who are third, second and first respectively in the Rookie Trophy for drivers in their first season of racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, EuroNASCAR 2 division. And now we've just got one further trophy to present, and that will be for the winner of the Lady Trophy. And that, for this race, is going to go the way of Alina Leubniger, who will pick up the top step of the podium and win the Lady Trophy. And that means that the Lady Trophy is close now as well, because Alina Leubniger was just 5 points adrift of Ariana Casoli in the championship scoring. So that means that whilst it's going to be close in the Legend Trophy, it's certainly going to be very close in the Lady Trophy as well. Big old smile from Alina Leubniger, and he will be delighted with yet another win in the Lady Trophy, and remained on the lead lap as well. It was the last of the cars on the lead lap, finished in 14th position overall, did Alina Leubniger. So that is our podium presentations done and dusted for today for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series here from Autodrom Most, our second ever visit to the circuit in the Czech Republic. It's been a great day. Race-wise, we've had some fantastic racing. Weather-wise, we've had some very changeable weather, but we will do it all again tomorrow as well. The cars will be back out in the morning for a 10-minute warm-up, but we will be back with our live stream of the EuroNASCAR 2 race at 10:05 Central European time tomorrow. That is 4:05 in the morning Eastern time if you're watching in the US. And if that's a little bit too early for you, then set your alarms, because we will see the EuroNASCAR Pro Division cars head back out onto circuit at 3 o'clock Central European time. That is 9 AM Eastern time in the US. So from the whole of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series team and the production team here at Autodrom Most, myself, Mark Werrell, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow for round 6 of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Goodbye.